awake. 2. Engage to bring them back to how things used to be. But often that quiet sleep is a form of mercy. It allows the body to rest without pain and the mind to wander gently between the physical and the spiritual. When my old friend Robert reached 84, he began sleeping 12, sometimes 14 hours a day. He wasn't depressed. He said he simply felt closer to peace when his eyes were closed. At first, his family worried something was wrong. But over time, they realized his naps were not an escape. They were part of a sacred slowing down, the body's way of preparing to let go without struggle. When you see this happening, don't try to fight it. Instead, make that space calm and warm. Speak softly, touch gently, and know that rest in these moments is not weakness. It's wisdom written into the body. Sign 2, loss of appetite and changes in taste. Another quiet but powerful sign appears at the dining table. Meals that once brought comfort, soup, pie, even morning coffee, suddenly lose their appeal. A senior who once asked for seconds may begin eating just a few bites or refuse food altogether. Families often panic, thinking starvation will hasten death. But in truth, this change is not the cause of decline. It's a reflection of it. As the body nears its natural end, it no longer needs or even wants the same amount of fuel. The digestive system slows down, just like everything else. Food that once nourished now feels heavy. Hunger fades because the body has shifted its focus away from living. In the physical world, the body begins to feed more on rest and peace than on calories. What makes this moment emotionally difficult is that feeding someone is one of the most instinctive ways we show love. When they stop eating, it feels as if they're rejecting care itself. But in reality, they are not rejecting you. They are simply obeying the quiet truth of their biology. I remember visiting my neighbor Alice, who was 87. Her daughter would make her favorite apple cobbler every evening. But Alice would only take a spoonful, smile faintly, and say, "It tastes too strong now." Her sense of taste had changed because her body no longer needed the world in the same way. The sweetness that once thrilled her had become unnecessary. This is not something to fight. Forcing food can actually bring discomfort, even pain. Instead, offer small, gentle tastes, fruit juice, soft soup, or a sip of water. What matters most at this stage isn't nutrition, but presence. The warmth of your voice, the calm of your company, these nourish far more deeply than any meal ever could. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 3, withdrawal from people and conversations. Another sign many families notice but rarely understand is social withdrawal. The person who once loved chatting on the phone or laughing at the dinner table begins to grow quiet. Their answers get shorter, their gaze drifts away, and silence fills spaces that once echoed with conversation. It's not rudeness or sadness, it's a natural turning inward. As the end of life approaches, many seniors instinctively detach from the external world. The noise, the opinions, the constant stimulation of life, they all start to feel heavy. Instead, they begin focusing inward, reflecting on old memories, reconciling emotions, and preparing in their own quiet way. This stage can break the hearts of those who love them. You might wonder, why doesn't she call anymore? Why doesn't he ask how I'm doing? But in most cases, it isn't neglect, it's acceptance. Their world is narrowing to what truly matters: peace, comfort, forgiveness, and the release of unfinished burdens. I remember a man named Harold, 82, who used to visit our church coffee group every Tuesday. One winter, he stopped showing up. When I visited him, he said softly, "I've said everything I needed to say in this life." He wasn't bitter or lonely. He was content. He wanted quiet more than company. Within months, he passed away peacefully in his sleep. When a loved one begins to pull away, don't take it personally. Instead, honor it. Offer gentle presence, not pressure. Sit beside them without needing to fill the silence. Sometimes the most loving act is to simply be there. Without words, without noise, just calm, steady companionship. The silence is not a void, it's a sacred space where the soul begins to prepare for a deeper journey. Sign 4, changes in breathing and body temperature. One of the most noticeable physical signs during the last year of life is how breathing patterns begin to change. Sometimes it's subtle, occasional sighs, slower breathing during sleep. Other times it's more pronounced, deep pauses between breaths, followed by a sudden longer exhale. Families often find this frightening, but doctors call it part of the body's natural rhythm of slowing down. As the body's systems weaken, oxygen flow becomes less efficient. The lungs and heart, which have worked tirelessly for decades, begin to conserve their energy. This can cause irregular breathing or even moments of stillness that seem endless, followed by a sharp inhale. It's not suffering, it's the body finding its own pace again. You may also notice that hands and feet become cool or slightly bluish, especially in the evenings. The body is redirecting warmth and blood flow toward essential organs. It's a quiet rearrangement of priorities, keeping the heart and brain alive even as the extremities fade in color and temperature. Emotionally, this stage often carries a strange calm. Many seniors report feeling light or unanchored, as if part of them is already halfway beyond the physical world. They describe it not as pain, but as a peaceful detachment. For families, the best thing you can do is keep the room warm, speak softly, and hold their hand even when they don't respond. I remember a woman named Grace, 79, who told me during hospice care, "It feels like my breath is deciding for me now." She said it with a small smile, not fear. Her family gathered around her, reading aloud from her favorite poetry book. Her breathing slowed, then steadied, then drifted again. She passed a few weeks later, not in agony, but in acceptance. Sign 5, emotional shifts and unusual calmness. One of the most profound transformations that occur in the last year of life isn't physical, it's emotional. You may notice that someone who used to worry about every little thing suddenly stops. Arguments that once sparked anger no longer seem to matter. Some describe it as letting go, but in truth, it's something even deeper. The person begins to feel an inner quiet, as if life's noise no longer reaches them the same way. This emotional shift can take different forms. Some seniors become unusually peaceful, while others appear distant or detached. They might speak of long past memories, often from childhood, as though they're gathering the threads of their life and weaving them into one last story. You may hear them say things like, "It's all been good," or "I'm ready to go home." Those words aren't despair, they're closure. I once sat beside a man named Gerald, who was 85 and nearing the end of a long illness. He used to be anxious about every detail of his day, bills, medication, the future. But during his final months, he grew serene. He told me, "I've stopped fighting time. It's not my enemy anymore." That peace radiated from him like sunlight through the window. Even his family, who feared losing him, felt calmed by his acceptance. The emotional change often extends to relationships too. Seniors may start apologizing for old conflicts, expressing gratitude, or offering unexpected forgiveness. It's as if the heart instinctively knows what it must release before it rests. Families sometimes misread this as weakness, but it's actually a kind of emotional strength, an ability to see life as a complete picture rather than a list of regrets. If you notice this in a loved one, lean into it with love, not fear. Listen more, correct less. Their words might sound strange, even cryptic, but they often carry deep spiritual meaning. Sometimes they're not just talking to you, they're talking to the part of themselves that's getting ready to cross into peace. When a senior begins to radiate calm instead of struggle, that's not the end of their story. It's the beginning of a new kind of grace, one that teaches everyone around them what true acceptance looks like. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 5 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 6, loss of appetite and change in eating habits. Another powerful and deeply human sign many seniors show in their last year of life is the gradual loss of appetite. Meals that once brought joy, morning coffee, warm soup, even a favorite dessert, begin to lose their appeal. Families often react with worry or even frustration, urging their loved one to eat something. But the truth is, the body no longer needs as much fuel when it begins slowing down. What's happening inside is simple yet profound. As metabolism decreases, the digestive system starts to rest. The body begins using energy more efficiently, drawing strength from stored reserves rather than food. Hunger fades, taste changes, and swallowing may become more effortful. This isn't starvation, it's nature easing the body into rest. You may notice your loved one pushing food around the plate, eating only a few bites, or saying things like, "I'm just not hungry." Fluids may also decrease, and while that can seem alarming, dehydration in the final stages can actually bring comfort, reducing swelling, pain, and even shortness of breath. Emotionally, food represents life, love, and care. So when a parent or spouse stops eating, families often interpret it as giving up. But it's not surrender, it's transition. I once met a woman named Helen who told her daughter, "You fed me for 80 years. Now I'm full." She said it with a smile, not defiance. Within weeks, she passed peacefully, surrounded by family who had finally understood her body's message. During this time, forcing food often creates more distress. Instead, offer comfort foods in small portions, a spoon of pudding, a sip of broth, or a favorite flavor of tea. Let eating become a shared act of tenderness, not insistence. Sign 7, changes in sleep patterns and awareness. One of the most telling signs that a senior may be in their final year of life is how drastically sleep changes. They begin to sleep more, sometimes most of the day. Conversations fade mid-sentence, eyes close more often, and moments of alertness grow shorter. Families often mistake this as simple fatigue or boredom, but it's something deeper, the body conserving its remaining energy. During this stage, the boundary between sleep and wakefulness starts to blur. Seniors might drift into dreamlike states where they talk to people who've already passed or describe scenes that no one else can see. To outsiders, it can sound like confusion, but many hospice workers say it's a sign of transition. It's as if the mind is already stepping one foot into another world, gently preparing for the journey ahead. These sleep changes aren't random. They reflect the body's wisdom. The heart beats slower, the brain uses less oxygen, and the need for stimulation fades. Some days they may be unusually alert, wanting to reminisce, laugh, or listen to old songs. Other days they barely open their eyes. That unpredictability is normal. It's part of the body's natural rhythm of winding down. I once cared for a man named Frank, 81, who began spending nearly 20 hours a day asleep. His daughter Emily was heartbroken, whispering, "He's slipping away." But when he did wake, he smiled faintly and said, "I've been dreaming of home." His words gave her comfort. She realized that his home wasn't their house. It was peace. If your loved one sleeps most of the time, don't try to wake them often. Let their rest be sacred. Keep their surroundings calm, play soft music, speak gently, and let them know you're there even when they can't respond. Sometimes the last connection isn't through words, but through presence. When a senior begins to drift between this world and the next, it's not a loss of life. It's the soft approach of completion. Each dream, each breath, each nap is a quiet rehearsal for release. Sign 8, a sudden burst of energy before decline. One of the most surprising and least understood signs many seniors show in their last year of life is a sudden return of energy after weeks or months of weakness. It often happens unexpectedly. Someone bedridden may sit up and ask for a full meal, or a quiet elder might start talking vividly about old memories. Families rejoice, thinking recovery has begun. But in many cases, it's the body's final rally, a brief, beautiful flare before the light fades. Doctors and hospice nurses call this the last surge. It's not a miracle recovery, but a final release of stored energy. The body, sensing its end, temporarily mobilizes everything left, glucose, hormones, emotional reserves, to create one last moment of vitality. It's as if life itself is saying goodbye. I once knew a woman named Eleanor, 84, who hadn't spoken in days. Then one morning she sat up, looked at her family and said, "What a beautiful day to go home." She laughed, ate a small breakfast, and even asked for her favorite hymn to be played. The next night she passed away peacefully. Her daughter later told me that day felt like a gift, like she wanted to remind us she was still her before she left. This burst of energy is one of life's mysteries. It's a moment of clarity, of spirit, of completion. Some seniors use it to express love, make peace, or simply enjoy a final sense of normalcy. If you ever witness it, don't waste it trying to figure out why it's happening. Just be there. Listen, laugh, share stories, and let them lead the moment. Afterward, when the energy fades again, the body's decline usually quickens. Breathing slows, sleep deepens, and communication may stop. But there's comfort in knowing that this final surge wasn't false hope. It was their way of closing the circle, of leaving something beautiful behind. When you see that light one last time, remember, it's not death arriving. It's the soul saying, "Thank you for loving me." If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 8 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. The truth is, death rarely arrives suddenly. More often, it tiptoes in quietly,